Now then. Okay, I see the thing around my face moving. Can you all hear me now? I have the most archaic pair of headphones on. These are some of the jankiest headphones I have, but I see the thing moving around my face now, and I'm thinking perhaps you all are at least getting some of the sound. Okay, Denise says she has sound now. It's been the craziest evening at my house. I just, it is what it is. It's so funny. I'll turn this light back out. I've had to have a blacked out house since about 8:30. Um, so I was having a quiet night. I had put some ornaments and boxed up some ornaments for David that I'd made. Was trying to clear some room to make some other crafts and was going to go live when I heard movement on top of my roof. I have a tin roof, and I thought, okay, well those eagles or an owl must have roosted. Okay, not a big deal. It's trapping season. Sometimes we have big birds of prey like to sit on our roof and watch for David to throw out a free dinner. Understood. Well, then it kept moving. And I thought, okay, well, these things normally don't move that much because they have to kind of hang on a tin roof with nails. They don't really move a lot. And if they move, you normally hear scratching with their talons. And so I just started blacking out the house. Because anytime I think anything's up, I black out the house. So I'm blacking out the house so I can see all movement outside. It's always brighter outside than it is inside. And I go immediately for my pistol. And so I'm blacking out the house, got my pistol. And I have other strategically placed arms in my home, so y'all don't need to worry about me. But now I'm hearing what I definitely know are foot strides atop my house. And in my head, I'm going, oh, crap. Because we did this one winter where I had things thrown at the house, hit the house, and it was just like all winter long. It was just, we could never figure out what it was. But I heard definite walking, definite strides, feet fall. And so I called my best friend Kim and I'm like, hey, listen, there's something on top of my house. I've got my spotlight and I've got my pistol and I'm going to back out the back door to where I can get a straight up angle within about 10, 10 strides from the house. If you hear something go down, call 911. So I've got the phone tucked up under one side of my chin. I've got spotlight, pistol crossed, and I'm going out of my house doing backward strides looking up at the roof. I hear it cross over to the front of the roof. And I'm like, okay, they're fixing to jump off the front and flee. That's a high jump, but okay, whatever. So I go back in the house, back up through the front room to the front porch. Nothing. Nothing. So I get real still again. And I'm listening. And I hear them slide down the back side of my roof over my bedroom area, tip off of the air conditioner in my window because my window and air conditioner both moved. And like bounce off the railing of the back porch was a screened in and hit the ground moving. So I run out as fast as I can. I'm not very fast these days. Run out the back door again, and they're breaking through the bottom of the field and the woods at this point. And I'm like, "Hey, come back! I got plenty of hollow points to share. Come on back!" No need to run away, you know. And and I'm like, you ain't scaring me. You're just pissing me off. So I was a little irritated because what y'all don't know is that the day after Thanksgiving, we had a mass arrest across the road from our house. And no one should ever have to deal with this, but the beginning of the year, the neighbor lady let her son, who is constantly in trouble, and her daughter in law, who's also constantly in trouble, put a travel trailer, kind of camper trailer, on her property, which is right across from our entry gate. And they've been living in it. And it's an eyesore and it's a pain in the butt to be there. And we all know that now since they're there, we're not going to have good people roaming this neighborhood. Obviously, there have been some very notorious characters making pit stops here and swinging by, and And when we've seen stuff that we've needed to alert to authorities, we have. But we knew that it was just a matter of time because they constantly are in and out of jail. And it's not any lifestyle that they can maintain. It's just they're just in and out of jail, and bless their hearts, they're not even good criminals. They're just criminals. And I'm a retired parole officer. That's why I say these things. Sorry, y'all. But this last Friday, we were bum rushed when all of a sudden on the radios they said they encountered a male and female walking, going to initiate a stop. And then when the officer initiated stop, we're hearing all this over the radio. When the officer initiated stop, the man brandished a weapon and fled on foot. So then they were on foot, and they said they're in the area of the two roads that meet in my area. So I go on the back porch and I yell at Dave, who's in his fur shed. I said, "Hey, they're chasing two people on foot. One has a weapon. You need to come in and put your pistol on your hip and lock whatever outbuilding you're going to be inside working in. And I'll lock up the house. Just be aware. Keep your eyes peeled." So when he comes in to get his pistol, um, we then see the cops swarm into the thicket that is straight in front of our property. And then we see the canine vehicle roll up. We know that our new canine that we have in our county is like, cause we're both ex law enforcement, so we know the new canine we have in our county is only 18 months old. She's still learning, and sometimes she doesn't like to let go. So we're like, well, this is going to be a fun show. So we stand on the porch to watch what's going on because that's just that's what you do in redneck country. Um, so they have to release the dog, and then as soon as they release the dog, he starts crying and comes out. And I got all this on video, but I'm not going to share it because I don't want people to be identified. I was just videoing in case something happened and the cops needed a backup video because I knew it was not a good environment. And it was not a nice thing to watch. It's not something you want to see happen next to your home. It's not something you want to see happen in the community you live in. It's not, these are not things that you want to know, especially when they're searching and he's got a pocket full of pills and a stolen firearm. These are things that you don't want to happen in your area. You don't want to see. And I'm just like, ugh. Well, at least now he's got decent charges and he'll be a convicted felon, and that will put a really big hardship on him. And he's either going to straighten up or he's just going to spend the majority of his life in jail. But either way, probably going to be a lot less of a hassle for me to have to live anywhere around him or his mother because there will be so many restrictions. And so we don't think anything else of it. Even though all night the cops didn't have a search warrant for their trailer, so it didn't get searched. But all night, people were stopping by all night to take whatever was stashed in that trailer, to take their portion, their cut, their whatever out. So the law enforcement overlooked a really big chance to get some good information and probably some good arrests by not having all their T's crossed and their I's dotted there. But anyway, we were just happy they were moving it out. Quiet weekend. David was home all weekend. Quiet weekend. Everybody fears my husband because, my husband does look mean. He's a sweetheart, though. I'm the mean one. I tell everyone I am the mean one. Believe me, I am the mean one. So the first night he's at work, I'm just kind of doing my own thing and working on crafts. Was getting ready to go do a live because I had cleaned up enough space to do a live and moved off all the ornaments I'd made. That's when I started hearing all that. So all of that transpired, and then when I rushed outside as whatever this was fleeing over the hill through the thicket, I was like, not a good idea to come back. You will get shot, Do not come on my property. Do not try to intimidate me. This is not a game, Bad idea all the way around. And they turned around and threw one giant rock as a parting gift. And the person that I was on the phone with Kim, she heard it hit my house. And she said, "Good Lord, have mercy." I said, "Yeah, they threw something." And a car picked him up and fled down one road. And there was something got thrown from the other side of the barn lot. I don't know where that individual left, but as soon as the radio, I called the dispatch and I said, "Send me Someone's tried to um, intimidate me and has either tried to get me out of my house to attack or was just trying to really play with me, but send somebody out here for a report. At that time, as soon as I called in, the female neighbor and whoever had been staying with her fled to a sedan and fled down the road. So they scattered like cockroaches when the light comes on. And so I'm sitting here, and I have all evening sat in a blacked out house. So the lady at dispatch knows who I am, and I'm like, I'm fine, just get one out here as soon as you have a non emergency, you know, break, just send me an officer. I said, I've got the house backed out. I said, I'm sitting in a corner. I said, I've got access to 4 windows. And I said, I can't be seen, but I can see everything. I said, so I'm good. And it was quiet after that. It was perfectly quiet after that. And the cop showed up, and I immediately announced on the front porch, I said, I've got a 9mm on me. Do you want me? He's like, no, keep it on you in case something happens. I was like, okay. So we walk around. I showed him what happened. We found where they were shoved up to get on my roof. And I told him when I heard him kind of tip off the air conditioner to jump down. And he said, yeah. And he said, doesn't your lights on your fence normally work? And I said, yes. I said, I'll have to check the lines to make sure they've not been ripped or broken or cut. Um, and I told him about the getaway car on the road over from me and the other rock being thrown, and then the 2 ladies leaving as soon as it went on the radio. So they're doing extra patrols in the area tonight. I told them that I hadn't received any because the people that I've sent to prison, if they're a certain level of dangerous, when they get paroled, I normally get a piece of paper or notification to be paroled and that I need to kind of be more aware for the next little bit. I haven't got one of those in a while, and I'm down to really the last several people that were serving some pretty big sentences. So I'm getting to where I'm not getting as many, but when I'm getting them, it's people I really need to watch out for. But I haven't gotten any in a while, so I haven't been really worried. I don't really get a lot of grief from the people I used to supervise. I was straight up, fair, and honest. And to be quite honest, I've never really had an issue with anyone I've supervised. Most of them were thankful to have had me for an officer, and even if I sent them to prison, are still kind. They'll shake my hand and even try to hug me in the middle of Walmart when they see me. Um, so I don't really have a big issue, but I always am aware, because it only takes one, and I sent lots of people to prison, so it only takes one to tick them off. So I stay at a heightened sense of awareness all the time. It's not anything new. It's just something that you have to do when you come out of this job. And so I always have a spotlight and weapons strategically placed around my house. And I always kind of default back into training mode when something like this happens. Because the police officer was like, "Well, you've got a nice little setup here," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, you never leave once you learn the tricks of the trade. You just never leave that." And so they're going to be scanning the next little bit and trying to make sure that whatever occurred doesn't occur again. But I told him, I said, listen, I said, after everything that happened with the arrest, I said, that boy having a possession of a stolen firearm, I said, now people on my property actively trying to intimidate, aggravate, or reach me. I said, if someone comes back and tries to get in my home, I will take it as a direct threat. And I said, I will react in such way. And he said, you should. Um, so I said, put that on the report. He said, I will. So it's been a weird evening. I was going to go live and craft, but now I've been sitting in a blacked out house, waiting for sounds and noises and monitoring all the movement in the area. And I think that they tried to do this when the first night David went back to work, thinking that, oh, she'll be alone and she'll be scared. But what they don't know is 90% of the time I'm alone. Um, but I'm not really scared. I've got too much training, and I've got too much knowledge, and I've got too much um, protection around me to be scared. There's no reason for me to be scared. There's just a reason for me to take a very safe, well thought out, darkened position within my home and wait for the first move while I'm waiting on law enforcement to come. So it's not really It's not really a fear motivator. It's I go into a tactical trained mindset. Um, so it's, and honestly, from hog hunting and raccoon hunting and deer hunting and being in the mix of all those things and working in this field and being in some really, gnarly issues at times, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun every once in a while to see if you're still sharp. So I don't think that they really understand that doing these things to me does not generate the emotional response they're hoping for. So it's just silly that in this day and age, um, you should have to deal with this. It's silly that people, when they have things happen because of their own behavior and their own choices, albeit how bad those choices are, they think that they should put the fault on someone else, or they feel justified to place the fault on someone else and try to intimidate and aggravate someone else. So that is the house that is the evening I've had in my house today. Yeah, Dave's working late. He won't be home for another hour or so, but I'm fine. This has been going on since about 8. And the cops have been out and searched. It's been dead quiet since then, and but I just kept the house blacked out and sat in my little safe spot corner with my back up against the center walls where I can see the most windows and I can see silhouettes of anything moving. Thank goodness it's a still night. The wind's not blowing, so it's a still night. I can hear almost every footfall in my yard. It's that still here tonight. So it is funny though that the only lights working in my yard where I have, oh my gosh, like 14 strings of lights is the one bush behind the house. All the others are not working. So now I've got to tomorrow check all of my lights to see if they've been cut. So that's gonna be fun because those suckers, they're expensive. Stop cutting my daggum lights. Those are expensive. Hi, Rachel. So I just wanted to check in because I told you I would see you tomorrow, and I really was getting ready to sit down and do a live because it's about 8 o'clock. When I guess they thought they would descend upon me and try to scare me. I don't understand the motive. I don't understand the thought process. But then again, when it's somebody that's dealing in drugs and that is an addict and has addiction issues and mental health issues, I'm sure on top of that, you don't understand motive. You can't put it to a motive. You just have to deal with whatever is thrown at you. And right now, it's a bunch of inappropriate behavior, it's a bunch of intimidation tactics. And I just have to respond in the safest and most methodical and well trained, tactical way possible. And I just thought it was very strange that they would try to do this tonight. So I don't know completely who is at doing this, who is at fault for this. But I would say with the neighbors fleeing as soon as it went over the radio, that's a huge indicator that they were probably part of it. But this is just kind of like a diary, just like me putting it out here, so that if something in the future happens, I have a record. Have a record of the events and what I went through tonight that I can go back and check up on. And so if someone else needs to hear this, they can piece the story together. It's just been a really weird night. Just been a really weird night. So I did make a few phone calls to a few people that can be here in a few seconds that are more dangerous than me. So I do have backup. Oh, it's okay. This happened, with this line of work, this happens. This used to happen when I first left. I had to still be super careful because people thought I was still, for a long time they thought I was still working. I just transferred to another county. And then it kind of died down for a while. And now it doesn't happen, unless there's, somebody's got I think a little personal issue. And I think that's what it is somebody got their feelings hurt because they got caught and they have to blame it on somebody. So they blame it on me. And that one of the suspects they arrested over here on the day after Thanksgiving was a female that had warrants out of Kentucky, and I used to supervise the county closest to Kentucky. And so that could have been where my face was recognized and seen, and that could have been what started all of this. So who knows? But you really can't put a lot of weight on a logical momentum, because people that do drugs and have um, criminogenic behavior don't always have a logical motivation. So you just have to deal with it and go on. But at least I know I'm not crazy, because when I was on the phone and that last whatever was thrown hit the house, Kim heard it through the phone. She was like, "What the heck was that?" I said, "They're still throwing crap." So, um, weird evening, very weird evening. These are things that I don't have to handle very often. I really enjoy my evenings, so I can just be a fat, domesticated old cow doing crafts. But every once in a while, people have to, I guess, just try to be turds and ruin people's evenings. But the cop is supposed to call me on my cell phone should he run into anything or find anything that I need to be aware of, or locate any party that could have been part of this. Um, so I'm sending out messages telling everybody, to any of my family, to not come by the house for the next few days in case I'm being monitored. I don't want my family to be monitored and followed. Um, so I'm telling everybody to leave me alone for a while. We're going incognito, going dark, because I don't want them to follow off parts of my family to create issues for them. So, yeah, Rachel, if I got light on me, it probably wouldn't have been good. Probably wouldn't have been good. I mean, this was directly an attack on me and the sanctity of my home. So, but it's just been one of them. It's just one of those things when you work in this line of work, you just kind of have to deal with it. I'm sending messages right now. But this is how someone that peddles drugs or does drugs thinks. If they get arrested, it's someone else's problem. It's not their It's not their behavior that got them arrested. It's you told them. And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to live my life. I literally looked at David and said, they're starting to swap vehicles, rotate vehicles. They're getting deep in it. And when you start driving a different vehicle every third day, you're deep in it. You're peddling some bad stuff, and you're already on the Pokies webs, radar, because you're doing these things. So we just knew something was going to happen very soon because of what we were seeing. It's frustrating that because we are the good, moral, wholehearted neighbors, that we are the people that are descended upon when this crap happens. They don't sit down and think about how they could have changed their life to have better behavior or in a better life. They How could they get rid of us so that they can continue doing what they're doing? So it's just like, ugh. Rachel, it's all about training. I go back into training mode. It was drilled so deep into me. I don't care how long I am retired. I will go back into training mode. And it's a lot like it's a lot like predator hunting as well. So between the two, I just go back into mode and put myself in a safe spot where I can see everything and nothing can see me, and I sit and wait, and I stack the deck against whatever's coming after me. And I fully anticipated they would attempt to breach my home, and they never did. And when I heard them running off, I just pursued. Mostly was trying to get an idea of who it was, but it was already too dark, and they ran in a path where they knew that my light would have various obstacles, and I wouldn't get a clear shot, a clear light shot on them. So, but I'm good. No, it was just a scare tactic, and I'm fine. And yeah, I'm fine. I'm laid here on the back in the back room doing this live, and I'm completely at ease. My doors are locked. Oscar's snoring. You know, I've got means to protect myself all around me. I'm fine. Oh, Gypsy, if somebody was here with me, it'd just be somebody I have to protect. I'm so much better just having me to worry about. Even with David, it's like I'm the person that gets up and grabs the gun and goes and gets into, alert mode first. It's always been that way since we were married. And it just takes him longer to get going, to wake up and get going. So, okay, well, I've got to call my son and feed him in on this. Um, Oscar didn't know what was doing. He was scared. Kept looking at the ceiling, and I think he thought it was those birds again because that freaked him out last time. And I thought it was the birds at the beginning too until I heard footfalls. And then when he heard footfalls, he started jumping up and through the house, thinking somebody's here. But where are they? Because he could recognize the footsteps, but he didn't. He couldn't place where footsteps that sounded like that were coming from because it was on a tin roof. And he was just like, those are footsteps, but where the crap were they coming from? And so I told him to hush and sit, and I put him in his bed and told him to stay. And that was to keep him out from under my foot and to shut him up so I could hear. And he didn't bark. I think he might have barked once or gruffed once, but once I told him to sit and stay and hush, he that was his command, and so I could hear what was going on. And it was just really weird. We don't have any close trees to the house. We don't. I mean, and so I guess they think that's when they can intimidate and throw stuff to and it's tin roof, so obviously the tin roof is a loud roof. Um, but it's just like I don't know. It probably would scare a normal person, but I'm not. After all of my jobs and all the people I've worked with and all the things I've seen, I guess I'm just not a normal person. No, Oscar kind of just looks for me to be the alpha, and he just kind of sits and he does what I say. He knows that I've got him, so he does what I say, and he sits and shuts up and just waits for me to take care of it. He's just one of those. Totally a beta dog. I will. I'll be fine. I only got a few more minutes before Dave gets home, and I'm just gonna chillax. And he's gonna walk a perimeter when he gets home and put up some cameras and that do direct feed. They'll wake us up so if anything moves, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. And if somebody gets arrested overnight, the popo are supposed to call me and let me know. So yeah, that's about it. But I just want to check in. I was going to do crafts. I totally was going to do crafts, but this happened and I had to take care of it. But I'm all good, and maybe in a few days we'll know the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. But I'm all good. I'm all good. A little bit of excitement, nothing bad. Probably just cantankerous old idiots being stupid. Um, Happens every once in a while when you've worked in the jobs I've worked in and witnessed what I've witnessed, and people know who you are. So it's just part of the thing. I will. If anything happens, I will let you know, Gypsy. I promise. Oh yeah, yeah. Denise, he's almost always packing, so um, he's gonna go down and check a couple of spots to see if there's any sign of where they ran through. See if we can kind of get an idea of because whoever was didn't weigh a whole lot. I mean, obviously, if you have to pick the person that goes to the roof, I guess it would be a skinny person, but they didn't weigh a whole lot. Um, but when they went down, they were big enough to move the unit in the window. We've only got one unit we've not taken out, and they were big enough to move that when they went down. They didn't put their whole weight on it, but they used it to slow down their descent when they jumped. So, and with the speed they made through the brambles and briars and thicket, because we hadn't cut that down this year, um, they couldn't have been a big person. They made a lot of noise, but they couldn't have been a big person because they wouldn't have fit otherwise. So it had to be a, in my mind, it's like it's a skinny little meth head. That's the only kind of person you're going to get tossed on somebody's roof that's going to run. So that's probably what it was. So yeah, Dave will be home soon. But honestly, people, I am the I am the bouncer at this house. I am the person that does most of the. I'm the one that does most of the looking, seeking, going after things that bump in the night. That's my job. David's great backup, but I'm the person that gets up and goes after stuff. So, oh Lord. But I'm good. If we figure out anything of what it was or anything like that, I will call you. And got several people paying attention to the scanners for me as well. So, yeah, I hope they some nasty bras. I hope they take a few of them home. Them suckers hurt, but I'm sure it wasn't a pleasant trip for them. So y'all have a good night. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. David will be here in a minute. I'm fine. And I'm sure that whoever it was, I did not respond in a manner they thought I would. So I'm sure they know they made a mistake as soon as I responded. Um, and so I doubt they'll be back. But you know, a little bit of entertainment for the night, I guess. It's not anything I enjoy, honestly. But if put into this position, at least I have the training to where, you know, the adrenaline turns into training, and the training turns into being aware of how to handle the situation. And so I'm okay. I'm not going to break down and have a conniption fit. I'm going to just revert back to my training and do what I know I need to do. So, but should anything else happen, I'll absolutely let you know. But maybe I can have Kim out here in a night or two to tell y'all what she heard on the phone call. And I had her on the phone just as a safety, just in case if something happened, um, she could call 911. But she heard the rock or whatever they threw hit the house too. So, but I'm all good. I swear I was going to do a craft live tonight. I wanted to, and then all this crap happened. So let's shoot for a craft live tomorrow. I may have to reposition where I do the craft live from, so I'm not sitting beside windows. So just bear with me. We may have a new backdrop for crafting tomorrow night, and we'll do something tomorrow night that is normal. And do I have what? I am absolutely. Oh, I've got balls. Nah, I just take care of business. Um, when you live in the country, you have to kind of stand up to things that you don't always know what's out there. And I've had to go out and yell at things that end up being a black bear in the backyard, stuff like that. It's just part of it. But um, I was unnerved when I heard the footfalls because I'd rather take on a wild animal any day as a human because humans, you never know the motivation. But I just went to training mode, so I'm fine. But it's fine. But we will do a crafting tomorrow, barring something huge happening. But I will probably not be crafting by windows. I will probably move my crafting area somewhere else. Um, but we will continue our crafting sessions tomorrow. I have got all the fur and all the pieces of wood in to do the reindeers. I've got the big reindeers ready, just waiting on the real antlers that I got off that guy. And um, I've got my Christmas tree rag quilt. I think all my fabric is now in. I think I've got enough. So we've got a few things we can do. And we'll get back to that tomorrow night. So, barring any further issues. But I'm good. David will be home in a few minutes. And I'm going to just sit here and chill and send out my messages to my loved ones telling them to stay away from the house for a few days just in case anybody's trying to get a profile on us. I don't want anybody else followed home and agitated, aggravated. So, but I'll be back tomorrow night. I'm good. Y'all have a good night. Just wanted to share. This is just a record in case things get crazy. I have a permanent record. Y'all, this is a real a real big reality of being in law enforcement and leaving law enforcement and still finding yourself a target of people that have hateful vendettas or want to blame others or won't take ownership over their behaviors, their stupid decisions with their life. This is just part of it. And so if you know somebody that was law enforcement or is law enforcement, respect them, be kind to them because the crap that they have to handle that you never know about is amazing. The crap that they have to handle that they can't talk about sometimes is amazing. So just imagine if this is happening to me 5 years after retirement, and I've had a few other bobbles with people that I've put in prison that have been released, but not many. But imagine what someone that's on the street beat every day has to deal with, the intimidation and the people that constantly are trying to pull one up on them or scare them or intimidate them away from an arrest or writing that report a certain way. Or just imagine this is the stuff that no one talks about. I'll talk about it. I'm not under the limitations of the badge anymore. I gave my badge back so I can talk about it. But a lot of these guys can't talk about these things that happen when they're at home. They don't have an outlet for it. I'll talk about it. But imagine what law enforcement deals with on a daily that they don't really ever get to share. So it's sad. It's sad. And it's sad that I'm sitting here and that I have to, number one, have a career with such a retirement issue, have neighbors with such, I mean, I'm sorry, just retarded, um, life options, that they think drugs is a viable career choice, um, and that think when they get caught it's someone else's problem, and it's just like, and you can't move anywhere and be completely away from this. If you know, like I do, where people live in the stats and the numbers, they're sprinkled in every strata of society, every neighborhood, everywhere. You can't get away from it. And sadly, I just know more than most people, and so I know what's going on. A lot that could be hidden by other people too. I know about. Um, and so there's no way to get away from this. That's just the simple, nasty truth of our world. You cannot get away from this. And I refuse to back down and accept it and state that this is normal. I will always say no. Your behavior is abnormal. People should not have a life of crime. Should not, be on drugs. Should not be peddling drugs. Should not. No, your life is abnormal. Do not try to intimidate me because I have a normal life. And I will always stand up for that, and I will always push against people that try to bring this crap and filth into communities and make it a norm in society. And sometimes it makes people not like me, but that's okay. It's part of it. It's part of it. Yeah, I have enough to deal with about this crap. That's I think that's why it makes me so mad when I have to deal with it, and I go back into pissed off training mindset. That's kind of where I go. So but I guess in some aspects, hey, it's good. It's good training. It keeps me on point. So keeps it all in the forefront of my mind. Um, but yeah, just a strange night. Wanted to let you know kind of what had been going on. So there's a sadly, this is a norm, and even more sadly, people that live in very bad cities that are full of this stuff. My area is not as full as most places, so normal families deal with this probably a lot more than I do. That are in these, very drug-addled places, to where they're a big interstate of the cartel that they go through and they peddle a lot. Families there have to deal with a lot more, I'm sure. But because of my status, I think I caught a little bit of a backlash tonight, but that's okay. That's okay. I think they figured out I don't make a good target. I think they figured that out. It's like Cape Buffalo hunting. You might want to go after that Cape Buffalo, but that Cape Buffalo is pretty dadgum scary. I guess I would equate to a Cape Buffalo hunt. Oh, that's funny. I'm a Cape Buffalo. I feel like one most days. I'm swollen enough to be one, that's for sure. But y'all just find the humor in this, find the logic in this, find the understanding and education in this. Take what you can from it, but sad that people have to deal with this crap. And it's sad that it took our crafting live away from us this evening, but we'll move forward tomorrow night and I'll see you then. And if should anything happen, I'll update you. But y'all be good. I'm going to get off here and do one last walkthrough check and get ready for Dave to be home because I'm absolutely gonna like watch and provide cover when he gets home, just in case somebody's trying to be a turd. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.